Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to SP Reviews, where today we have ourselves a track by an act named Bridges Ablaze titled Hellbent, and if we switch over to here we have ourselves a track on the screen. We're going to listen through this track from start till finish. We're going to hear what we think. Let's go, let's do this. What do we got? Fantastic work with the clarity of those guitars alongside the really punchy kicks at the start. Very atmospheric. Liking the effects change on those guitar lines. The tone on the guitars, man. Those 7 or 8 strings. Absolutely slick, man. I love it. Great clarity down that low range there. Tight distortion. Got ourselves some finesse around the fretboard. We've got some really lovely clean vocals here. I mean, I know it's a fashionable thing nowadays to have like the down tuned, drop tuned, or like 7/8 string guitars with like the beautiful sort of pristine mid-range male vocals on top, but they're definitely working it. I'm really enjoying it. Those really pretty arpeggios and the guitars in the background are a nice sub layer. A little bit of vocal fry there, nice. No, we've got all the bases covered. Ripping through the tides, you can't break me. Damn, man. Slick delivery there, really easy to hear what's going on, all the different elements of the mix. Studio production's tight. Nice use of part mutes as well to kind of switch between the opened and palm muted parts. I'm wondering how they've done the drum production, because like the drums definitely, like you can tell there's an acoustic kit here, but it also sounds like there might be some sampling or something like that. I don't mind either way, don't get me wrong, I'm not a purist. Similar approach to the previous verse, which is fine for the accompaniment, you know. I like the change between the vocalists, you know, different vocal timbres and textures. It's very easy to tell what's going on here. It's an interesting way of approaching it. Typically you have like one main vocalist, and if you do have two, there's like a man and a woman, right? But it's great to hear that we've got ourselves multiple vocal talents within the band. You can't kill me, I'm already dead. That's a filthy breakdown, dude. That's a neutron star right there. I love the little sort of synthetic electronic elements there as well. We haven't had too many of them, like a little bit of sort of mild synth work at the start, but as a nice kind of foil to what was happening a lot with like a lot of the like new metals and sort of metalcore in the early 2010s, where like we just had the guitars, you know. It's nice to explore that frequency range. Tasteful lead. It's nice to see a lot of the work that went into the djent and progressive metal in the early 2010s is coming to fruition here in the 2020s with the continuation of these talents. Bridges Ablaze, man. I adore it. I enjoy the sound they're putting forward here. I think that was some of the most professional lead solo voicing I've had there in quite a while. I mean, like, they knew not just to shred the entire time. There were a few sort of like sweet picks there, great use of vibrato and those bends there, but it was tasteful. It's like they knew that they had to get to the guitar to sing to be a replacement or like a salve for the absence of the singer there. I think it's awesome. They can clearly play, but they had restraint. Cool, and I like the reverb tails on there, the decay there, the airiness to it. So I know some people personally, and I'm always a fan of that kind of sound, that wispiness there, the kind of spookiness of it. But I think it works well with metal. It's part and parcel, man. Nevermore Visuals presents in association with Source Market, Hellbent, featuring music and performance by Bridges Ablaze, co-producer Tyler Blaze, light and gaffing by James Freeman III and Jasmine Quinones. Excellent. Yeah, I just want to give a shout out on the visuals as well. I don't traditionally talk about them primarily because I don't know enough about video production to really sort of be proficient at describing it. But I thought the video, as someone who's more of a casual on that front, was really dope. And this is the conclusion of my review of this track, Bridges Ablaze, with Hellbent. What do I think this track is about? I think this track is about someone or these people describing how no matter what's thrown at them, they will get through it. Maybe that's like a description of their life or like the trials and tribulations they've been through as a band or as individuals. I think that's a story that a lot of people who are listening to this are going to be able to relate to. I think everyone can, relate to having to cope with an uphill battle, and trying to sort of like acclimatize that or so even survive it, I think it's a great thing to write a song about, especially in this day and age where there's a lot of kind of crazy stuff going on in the world. I think it's a necessary song, and even if there are other people making stuff like this, it's always helpful to have a reminder, right? That you're not alone, and that you just got to continue to work at it and do the best you can. I think the vocal performances from both singers in this band, given as well that they were not only singing, but they're also playing the guitar parts, are fantastic. They had great vocal technique, comfortable in the hidden chest voices. They explored the scale ranges really well. There were some interesting harmonies that happened there, as well as some overlapping and call and responses there. It was nice that they staged themselves in different sections, like the first guy was in the verses and a little bit of bridge sections, and then we had someone who was a little bit different, just I think for a distinct sort of like tone in that chorus, for the bigger kind of ballad there. And I dig it. I dig it. They didn't sound the same. They had slightly sort of contrasting sort of colorations to the way they did their thing, but they all melded together incredibly well with what was going on with the guitars, the bass, and the drums. I'm thankful for that. I think that they ought to be proud of themselves for the effort that they put in today. It's really dope. I think in addition to this, the way that we presented ourselves with the motif behind it, with those guitar parts, little synth kind of higher sort of like ghostly parts there, along with the really tight, I'm sure there was a bass guitar in there, but it was very, very tight with what was going on with the bass, or with the drums, should I say. I mean, even if sometimes I don't have bass guitars, because like the bass guitar is sometimes in the range of the 8 or even the 9 string, but it was hella heavy, man, hella heavy there. I liked the way those combinations worked together, We had sort of like your kind of like traditional chorus line with a progression that had a little bit of articulation in the mid-range there, but it was an easy to follow chord progression there that was uplifting, to contrast with I think a bit more of the ambiguity and sort of the sinister nature of those verses there with the bow bow, those little kind of pre-bends going up like that. I think it was seductive with the changes that we had within the actual performances on the guitars and how the drums sort of followed along with that. It was really kind of jagged, kind of like plucky double kick triplet parts there, and the work with the tom fills, but mostly cymbal work, cymbal grooves there, just a kind of sense of relative and kind of, it's weird to say, a relative minimalist kind of design to it. I mean, I don't think the song was extraordinarily complex from a compositional perspective. We had like sort of traditional sort of like verse chorus elements there. We had a solo section obviously, which was relative. I think it was incredibly restrained on the part of the lead guitarists there who took turns. I think that worked well for the song, especially as a single. You can show that you can play not only by playing a million, like lots of different notes really quickly, but also by playing the right notes in the way that is essential and gives a sense of feel and purpose and importance to that alternate voicing there. I think the lead parts were handled adeptly. I think that in addition to all this, I think that at like, 4 minutes was more than long enough to get all the points across for this track that we needed to there. Again, there was enough time for a solo section, several choruses, etc. Sort of more of a revelation of the story and where we were going with that. We also had enough time just to sort of have the instrumentalists and the vocalists show off their respective talents and such. But at the same time, there was also an obvious chemistry between the band members, which just showed that they really enjoyed performing with each other, and I'm sure that these guys are just as sick live as they are in the studio. I think that the studio production, recording, mixing and mastering was splendid. Not only could they shred, not only could they play, not only could they sing, and not only could they write a lyrics and a story that's meaningful, but the studio side of things was absolutely smashing. Like the little filtered bits that they had occasionally where things were sort of cloudy sounding, or like it's through like a different speaker. The occasional guitars going through the left or right, like before that. Really filthy breakdown, like that breakdown kicked ass, man. I enjoyed that. Because I didn't mention that part with the 4 minutes of the structure. That breakdown was brutally heavy, dude. And it was awesome. They had like these kind of rougher kind of vocals and everything like that. And it sizzled, man. It sizzled. There was so much to appreciate about this track. It had all the high points of the genre with none of the filler. But like, not only did they have little fun bits of automation with the padding of the guitars and everything like that, as well as the filtering and EQing of them at various points just to keep things fresh and sizzle it up, but they got the fundamentals sorted too. Like the vocals were recorded succulently. They had a fantastic tone to them. It was easy to discern the words individually. They were I think that they again had reverb chains and stuff like that, and they were treated so that they're nice and consistent sounding dynamically. But I don't think they were oversaturated. I think they could just sing really, really well. I didn't need any help with tuning or anything like that. I think that the guitar parts the guitars were double tracked and they sounded huge. The drums are nice and punchy, and I'm still sort of 50-50. I think they did just use a kit that was really well recorded. But I mean, again, if they use samples or blended samples, then that's absolutely fine as well. There's nothing wrong with that, eh? The guy could definitely play regardless, It's just, it makes me really happy because I think that the drums can make or break a track like this. If you don't have an instinctual kind of understanding of which grooves need to go where, when to slow down and when to speed up, it doesn't matter how flashy the solos are, you're kind of done, right? If there was a bass guitar in there, it was so tight and so well behaved with the triads and the bass drums and stuff like that, that it was almost like it was one with it, and I kind of like that unity and synergy there. I think that, again, the leveling of the different elements of the mix was great. It was nice to wind the stereo field, and limiting compression was nice and loud without pumping. There was obvious dynamic range there, especially when things were filtered and a bit quiet and stuff like that, which was an obvious understanding from the band and whoever was responsible for both the studio and or the compositional perspective, that things needed to come down a little bit to elevate again. They definitely know what they're doing. This is my review of Bridges Ablaze, Hellbent. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go check out their various social medias and their YouTube page, and stay cool, stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they hell more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, and I'll catch you in the next review. Spiderhands Out.